Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Senior Taliban officials say a major row broke out between leaders of the group just days after they set up a new government in Afghanistan.
There, it's almost like a family photo shots of the Taliban fighters.
Supporters of two rival factions reportedly brawled at the presidential palace in the capital, Kabul. The argument appeared to centre on who did the most to secure victory over the US and how power was divided up in the new cabinet. The Taliban have officially denied the reports. The group seized control of Afghanistan last month and have since declared the country an Islamic emirate. North Korea has fired two short-range ballistic missiles towards the Sea of Japan just days after its previous launch. The latest round of missiles came as China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi was in Seoul to discuss the earlier cruise missile test and the stalled denuclearization talks between Washington and Pyongyang. A Chinese spokesman said that Beijing hoped that countries involved would exercise restraint and conduct dialogue. 9 Hong Kong pro-democracy activists have been sentenced to 6 to 10 months in jail for joining the peaceful Tiananmen vigils last year. Hong Kongers hold large-scale vigils on the 4th of June each year to commemorate the 1989 Tiananmen massacre. But authorities had banned the event for the last 2 consecutive years, citing coronavirus restrictions. Despite the ban, thousands still showed up to light candles and sing songs. The European Commission's president has said the bloc must learn the lessons of the US-led mission in Afghanistan and acquire the political will to build up its own military force.
Europe can, and clearly should, be able and willing to do more on its own.
Ursula von der Leyen made the comments in her annual State of the Union speech in Strasbourg. The idea of common defence has a long and tortured history within the EU. It is likely to be discussed again by von der Leyen and the French President Emmanuel Macron in the first half of next year, when France holds the rolling presidency of the EU. California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom has thanked voters for their support after he comfortably beat an effort to oust him from office.
Are enjoying an overwhelmingly no vote tonight here in the state of California.
The so-called recall vote was initiated by Republicans who've been angered by strict coronavirus regulations in the state. The outcome has been closely watched as an indicator for the 2022 national elections. The massive joint Russian-Belarus military exercise near NATO's borders will be completed today, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. The drills happen every 4 years and entail huge numbers of troops rehearsing an imaginary invasion of Belarus by a Western coalition. NATO warned that the military exercise increases the risk of an accident that could touch off a crisis. The US Soccer Federation has offered identical contracts to its men's and women's national teams in an effort to resolve a long-running dispute about equal pay. The federation has also urged FIFA to make the World Cup prize money equal. At the last tournament, the male players took home about 10 times more than the female ones. The US women are currently world champions, having defended their title in France in 2019. Police in Somalia's breakaway Somaliland region have arrested a man attempting to smuggle 200 lizards into Egypt. This footage, released by police, shows the suitcases packed with plastic containers that were allegedly used to carry the lizards. The lizards appear to be shield-tailed agama, which can sell for $500 each on pet websites. A spokesperson said it is illegal to export the region's wildlife because they can become extinct. And finally, the dream of going to space is coming true for 4 American civilians as they launch into orbit aboard a SpaceX rocket later today.
I want to thank you guys.
The 3-day expedition will be the first mission to space without any professional astronauts on board. The 2 men and 2 women are due to launch on SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Barring any glitches, they are expected to orbit the planet for 3 to 4 days, performing experiments as they go before splashing down in the Atlantic Ocean. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.